Good morning and welcome back. Let us believe and let us pray for a wonderful 2024 and blessings to all. Christelle is still on maternity leave. She's working very hard. She struggles with two babies, but we are happy and everything is fine there. But what we need to know is that we've got an exciting year ahead of us. And as always, remember this is a free show to the public. It's a free service. You can drop us an email at frans@fransdeklerk.com or even admin@fransdeklerk.com, and you can send through your requests and then we can cover it on this program. And it's such a pleasure to do it. It is a passion for me talking about technical analysis. I've been around the block for many years, made big mistakes, had some very good trades, and for me, it's a passion. So let's kick off the year with HangSeng. And there's a lot of guys that actually say that this market is offering some value. So let's have a look at the chart. And remember, this is a weekly chart. And yes, the stochastic is rock bottom. It's at the 11. It's definitely oversold. But if you look at the chart here, the momentum is clearly to the downside. And can you believe it that the low in 2022 was 14,627. So if you look at this chart, it actually is so low. It was here at which year? Let's have a look. What a surprise. It was at these levels at, let's say, 14,500 in 2009. And what do we see here is we're not very far from this low that we've seen in 2022. But the momentum is down. And the question was, Frans, do you believe that we can maybe nibble at this index? Now, there's one of two strategies that you can always follow. And the one is you either start accumulate when your stochastic is very low, but then you must do it in bits and pieces, and you must definitely have a long-term view. What viewers or investors sometimes make a mistake in, they believe that at a certain point, the chart must turn around. Remember, in markets, there's never a word of must. It is only an assumption that you believe that the market can turn around. And for me, while the momentum is down, you've got either an option to maybe nibble very little here at the lows, or you wait for a beautiful reversal candle and then you start to accumulate, because this resistance line that we see here is only going to turn into a support at 16,440. And for me, it's quite simple. Below 16,440, the momentum is to the downside. And look at the 40-week moving average. The 40-week moving average is definitely a resistance, and that is sitting at 18,200. But what I can tell you, the SP 500, and we'll probably look at that now, is very toppish. But the HangSeng is rock bottom. So what you can see is maybe if something comes right in China suddenly and Hong Kong, suddenly this index can turn around. But the East must show us what they want to do, because at the moment, momentum is still clearly to the downside. Let's have a look at the S&P 500 just to bring you in line with what happens there. Now, the S&P 500, of course, is almost on a brand new low. In actual fact, it touched a new high the other night. But look at the stochastic, toppish, massive rally. We've seen almost 9 green candles in a row. That's almost very rare to see that. What you sometimes see, you see these tiny pullbacks, but the momentum is up. But look at this. It rallies completely away from it. And everybody is watching this level. And they say if we can break this level, remember we had that inverse and shoulder that we showed a while ago. If it can break the level of 4818, we can maybe see this index all the way up to 5,000. But remember, the S&P 500 is driven by 7 shares only. So if I must compare the two, if I must look at the S&P, and if I look at the HangSeng and I'm not in the S&P 500, maybe it's time to maybe do a tiny position on the HangSeng and wait for it to stabilize or consolidate and then add on to that. Well, what was the next big news? Was Bitcoin, of course. And a very interesting thing happened there. Um, the American markets agreed that Bitcoin can be included as an exchange traded fund. Now, something very interesting happened after that. One of my very informed friends in America sent me a little WhatsApp and he said, Frans, I think why they did that was to get control over the price. Because in the past, nobody could control Bitcoin and it just could go up and down as it wished. But now suddenly it's a different story. Now they can control the price because it's in an exchange traded fund and some big funds are involved there and they can buy and sell and maybe manipulate the price. But what happened? Everybody was so excited about the price. It went up as high as, can you believe, on that decision, 49,048. But what I see on this weekly chart, I'm seeing an ugly, ugly shooting star candle, and that is negative. But where will it only turn to be negative? And that will be below that low. I'm actually going to take another support a little bit lower to have a confirmation. There's the level. And for me personally, I think if it goes below 40,181, we see a top or a reversal pattern on this shooting star formation, and that can give us a pullback. And remember, where's the 40-week moving average? At 31,890. And that's quite interesting. And just a while back, I think in November, somebody dropped me an email and said to me, Frans, but did you see that technicals do not work on Bitcoin? And I tend to disagree with this person. Look at it. The stochastic was toppish. The market stayed toppish for a while. And now the stochastic is starting to come back. And I see Bitcoin is also following that. And now that it is also approved as an exchange traded fund, I think the technicals will even work more on the chart. Well, let's have a look at Remgro, that old stalwart. And this is a chart that just tells me, and there's that old head and shoulder that I showed, and it gave us a beautiful buying signal on that. Let's just remove that. There you are. If you look at Remgro, I mean, top quality company, always nice to have. And what I see here, although I like the company, you guys know that I like Remgro and I like Rainet and British American Tobacco, although I'm not a smoker. But look at this. There's maybe a possible double top here on a weekly chart. And for me, if you are a trader in Remgro, and I think there's not a lot of traders in Remgro, usually the share gets bought for the long term. If the share can go below 15402, that will be the first sign of weakness that this double top can maybe come into play. But where will this confirm? This will only confirm below that level, and that level is 137.54. Now only below 137.54 the stock can come back, and maybe it can go then all the way back, can you believe it, to 113 rand. I mean, that will be, as I will say, a gaps. It will be an opportunity to buy the share there. And then of course, if you do a little bit of extension here on a support line, you can see that maybe we slowly busy working on a head and shoulder formation pattern here. If you look at this chart, there you are, see, that's the left shoulder, there's the head, and we may be forming the right shoulder here, but there's your 40-week moving average, still positive at 149.02, and then this neckline will only turn into a resistance below 141.51, and if we do an extension here on this chart from the head to the neckline, and we see where it can go to, you can see that it can maybe also go to 112.39. Let's have a look at a tiny little share that I showed before, and I said I'm looking at this chart because I liked the chart, and that was Rand Merchant Bank. And yes, it is overbought, and it looks like it wants to turn around, and the momentum can turn around. But what do we see here? We see that we on the brink of turning this old resistance. I just want to show you there. This old resistance waits at 66 cents, and we're trading exactly now around 66 level. if this 66 cents can turn into a support, we can maybe see the share advance even higher. Remember, this was that special dividend that got paid out. So this massive red candle is not that somebody sold it, it was that distribution. But there's something else that I would like to show you here. And Rand Merchant Bank Holdings, if you just do this, you will quickly see what I see here. And there's a massive consolidation taking place here. And yes, remember, this is the daily chart, but this gap between 69 cents and there you are, R1.95 may close sometime in future. I doubt if it will close because the rules say yes, gaps can close either today or tomorrow or sometime in future. But remember, this is a fundamental gap. A fundamental gap does not close easily because it was actually a payout. So the company paid out some money and the share got under pressure. But there's something else that I would like to put in here. I just want to put in a volume chart here because that can be very interesting. And can you see there is some volume here, but there's not a spike in volume like that. And for me, while I'm looking at that, if we can break this support line with a beautiful spike in volume like that, like almost an extreme spike in volume, we will see this chart as a Nicholas Darvas chart. I like that model because that model always tells you there's a massive consolidation. Some people will say this is a beautiful saucer pattern, but if you see a break above the line with a beautiful spike in volume, that's what that volume is, maybe a little bit less to make me feel positive about it. But if it breaks above that line with nice volume, you can maybe see this gap sometime to close. That's the one thing. And on the other hand, I like this chart. And the reason why I like this chart, even though South Africa is in the doldrums and we get all this negative news around the country, and everybody is negative, this chart slowly but surely picking up. And that tells me that there's maybe something happening in the company, and we'll probably in time to come we'll find out. So I like this chart. I think it's a long-term view, and I will only get negative if the chart starts to consolidate below 60 cents. While it's above 60 cents, I'm happy. The chart looks okay to me, and maybe we can maybe look at the chart. Now, if you do buy it above 66, I think make use of a stop loss of 60 cents. And as always, when you've got the tiny counter like this, you must always say to yourself, never sell your farm to buy this. It can maybe turn around ugly. Let's have a look at Kumba. And I want to change it back to a weekly chart here. And if I look at this, what do I see here? I'm also seeing, I just want to remove those lines quickly. Just want to remove the volume. There you are. Some lower highs makes me a little bit nervous. The stochastic is showing loss of momentum. And for me, if I look at this chart, there you are. I'm going to use that support there of that chart. That's a resistance at the moment. And that's it. If it remains below 572, that's that level there, the momentum is to the downside. Kumba, wonderful company, makes good money, usually pay wonderful dividends if they make a lot of money. But for me, it looks like after this lamp formation, look at it, a high, a lower high, there's even a teardrop candle telling you that somebody is selling into strength. There's a bearish candle. There is some buyers around you. Look at those shadows. But for me, while it's below this 572, the chart unfortunately remains negative to me. Let's have a look at another dog of the market, Purple Group. I mean, everybody hates this company. It's nothing else than, what do we say? Just want to put it in there, sorry. It's the owners of Easy Equities. Everybody is not happy with the company, but I'm seeing something here that I do like. Let's just use a weekly chart here again. remember this share has been hammered. I mean, can you believe it? This share in May 2022, there you are, when after the double top, I mean, this share was at a high of 3.50 Rand. It's now trading at 70 cents. How is that for you? But there's something that I like. The stochastic is making higher lows. It's already maybe a little bit extended. But let's see if there's a little bit of volume here. Because this, remember, is one of the dogs of the market. Because everybody says that this company can just go lower. No, there's no spike in volume. But for me, let's have a look here. If I look at this chart, momentum still to the downside, but there was a tiny little break a while back. Look at that. There you are. From that top of that candle, there was the break. It's consolidating. And for me now, if it stays above this line, and there you are, the low of that candle, I'll zoom it out for you guys now so that you can see where do I get that level from. And that's it. That low of that candle is sitting at 61 cents. While it is below 61, above 61 cents, it at least works on a consolidation. And look, where's your 40-week moving average? Your 40-week moving average is only sitting at 85 cents. But where's the next sign of strength? And I think that's the most important one of the lot. Because why do I say that? I say that because what happened here, if you look at this chart, it was under immense pressure. Everybody just sold it off every time that it wanted to consolidate. Even there, it consolidated. And just after it started to consolidate, it was sold off again. The big level to watch on Purple Group is 72 cents. If this little tiny share can break above 72 cents, that will be a low, a higher low, and the first proper higher high in place. So guys, watch out for 72 cents. Ladies, of course, if it breaks above 72 cents, we can maybe see some upward momentum. Where's my stop loss? My stop loss is sitting at 61, so it's a bit of a big stop loss. Let's maybe give you a tighter one, 64 cents. And I mean, if that starts to go, where can it go to? It can go to 78, 83, I mean, 90 cents. And even if it breaks this 86 cents of the 40-week moving average, this can change the whole scenario of this company. Look what happened in the past. I just want to take those lines away. And that's always a sign for me. There's the 40-week moving average. Look what it worked hard to stay above that 40-week. But when it started to go, it really took off. Now, well, I don't know if that's going to happen. But for me, big level is 72 cents. And the next one is that 85 cents of the 40-week moving average. Let's have a look at Goldfields. Goldfields. I think it's GFL, GFI. There you are, GFI, Goldfields. I like the gold counters, but on the weekly chart, you can see what I've got here. I've got a tiny little gap here. I hope it doesn't close that, but for me, the momentum is starting to falter here. And we see a double top scenario here. We've seen that the 40-week moving average has turned into a resistance. Yes, there is some buyers protecting. Look at that shadow there. Look at that shadow there. But I think we probably will see this gap maybe closing time, and then maybe we can see a nice relief bounce from there. But for me, while it's below this 40-week moving average 262.37, momentum is to the downside, and that gap on the weekly chart is sitting below 221 and 10 cents, and it will close at 217.03. So for me, let's see if that closes, and then we can see. And remember, if you are a reader or a subscriber to our services, you don't need to wait for the show. You can always enroll straight away with an email to us and say, listen, please analyze this chart for me. We will do it for pleasure, and we'll definitely send you the levels ASAP. Usually it's within an hour after you requested it, you will get your response. But as always, have a great week. visit our website www.fransdeklerk.com and we will chat again. Thank you so much.